Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Aztec and joined once again by my good buddy Nero the Hero.
How's it going, everybody?
And today, some big news happened. Well, not really today. Actually, yeah, it still is today. We did this before. No, we didn't do it before midnight. So technically, yesterday, some big news dropped for game consoles. The official specs are revealed for the Xbox Scorpio, and I'm betting a lot of people are wondering: is it going to live up to all of this hype that the Xbox have been throwing at it? And I don't know about you, but my take on it is if you're one of these people who was like furiously fapping away at the thought of 4K 60 FPS and this machine was going to dispense blowjobs, you're going to be sorely disappointed.
Oh man.
I mean, what were your expectations going into this?
Honestly, I didn't have any.
Well, that's one way to never be let down.
Exactly. I mean, just as far, to be honest with you, like ever since I switched to PC gaming, like 2 years ago now, like honestly, consoles have just kind of been off my radar more or less. Like, sure, like I've been like, whenever like a new console game comes out, I'm like, oh, cool, that sounds neat. Like, whatever, neat. But like other than that, it's like from like a hard. I mean, I'm interested in like the kind of like hardware and the tech under the hood and stuff like that. But I mean, just as far as like interest in like either console, whether it be PlayStation or Scorpio, it's just kind of like I don't know. I expect them to be consoles, and I expect them to come out with new ones every so often.
Yeah, honestly, that's kind of how I am too. I'm interested in the tech under the hood and how it's going to actually perform long term. But as far as actually being excited for the console, I'm not. It's not really my thing.
Yeah,
But
just especially too after just PC gaming exclusively for 2 years, I've seen like I've seen like what a super capable rig can do. So it's kind of like now it's just kind of like, oh, okay, cool.
and speaking of super capable, looking at this thing, 12 gigs of RAM. I think that's pretty beefy for a game console. I love a lot of people
Yeah,
were kind of like, oh my god, the PS4 and Xbox One had 8 gigs of RAM. It's like, okay, yeah, that's nice, but that's with modern games having 8 gigs of RAM split between like both system memory and video memory. That's
right.
it's a little. I mean, it's okay, but it could be better. I
Hmm.
think 12 gigs is kind of a sweet spot. Honestly, 12 gigs seems about right, and the RAM's pretty fast too, which I'll give them credit for. The RAM is fast.
Hmm.
Now, the GPU confuses the hell out of me because apparently it's supposed to be a Polaris GPU, and what I read earlier was apparently Scorpio for the GPU. The manufacturing process is 16 nanometer, which that confuses me since that's also the process that they used for like the Nvidia Pascal cards, but the AMD cards are 14 nanometers, so this is weird. They like, went up to a larger manufacturing process for this, but they actually shrunk the CPU down from 28 nanometer to 16, and that's kind of how they squeezed higher clock speeds out of this thing's CPU. But back to the GPU, I'm a bit confused because it's from what I heard, it's pretty much Polaris 10, and that's the RX 480. The RX 480's got, I think it's got 36 compute units, if I'm not mistaken. And the Scorpio GPU has 40 compute units, so they added extra compute units. I could be wrong. Maybe it's 32 on the RX 480. I remember it's below 40. That much I do remember for sure. My memory is kind of failing when it comes to the Polaris cards. Anyway, the clock speeds on the RX 480 it comes like stock at like 1266 megahertz. And some of the third-party models, like the Power Color Red Devil or the Sapphire Nitro RX 480, they can clock up to about 1400 megahertz, and that's screaming fast for that card.
Hmm.
But why is the Scorpio only clocked at 1172 megahertz?
I thought that was kind of weird too. Like, wait, hold on, let me.
More compute units, lower clock speed.
Huh.
I mean, maybe it's a power thing. Maybe they can squeeze more out of it with more compute units and more shaders with a lower clock
Possibly.
speed. I mean, maybe I can see that.
Hmm.
But that still stood out to me as being a little bit weird. That's actually below the stock clock speed of the RX 480. It's actually close to the clock speed of the RX 470. It's still a little bit lower than even that. But what is definitely an upside is it's much higher than the original Xbox One's GPU clock, and it's much higher than the PS4 Pro. The PS4 Pro tops out at 911 megahertz. So yeah. It's definitely going to be faster than the PS4 Pro. And then when we're talking about the CPU, why did you stick with the Jaguar CPU? I like how they try to write it off in this article I'm looking at on The Verge. The Jaguar architecture, that shouldn't be much of a problem. There's going to be certain effects that you can't crank up all the way on Scorpio games because the CPU is going to be a bottleneck. And a game like Battlefield 1 is probably going to be choked. There's going to be a massive bottleneck on the CPU.
Uh-oh.
I mean, yeah, it got a clock speed bump up to 2.3 gigahertz, but that's still pretty low as far as those clock speeds go. And it's on a slow or an inefficient architecture. The AMD Jaguar architecture is not exactly amazing. It's pretty damn awful compared to some of the Intel counterparts and even like AMD's new offerings. I know a lot of people had a lot of hope that it was going to be using a Zen CPU or a Ryzen CPU, but a lot of us kind of knew that already. Like Scorpio, I don't think Scorpio kind of like met the deadline to be using a Ryzen CPU. Like,
the time didn't work out.
Yeah, it just would have been off. Like Ryzen was set to come out. Well, it came out late February, and Scorpio isn't set to be released until what, like later this year. But that still wouldn't have been enough time. Like
exactly.
Ryzen releasing this year and Scorpio releasing this year, but it's going to use the Ryzen CPU. That didn't make any sense.
No, yeah, that wouldn't have worked out at all.
Now they do go on in this article to say that they were showing off a tech demo showing the new Forza game running at 4K native 60 FPS with the GPU only under 60 to 70% utilization. What I have to say about that is that's a tech demo.
Right.
We saw tech demos at E3 when the PS4 and Xbox One were first announced. You remember that original PS4 tech demo, that the old man's face?
Oh yeah, I do. Yes.
Yeah. Have you seen any PS4 game that even comes close to that?
Nope.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Nope.
But I mean, what do you have any other thoughts on the Scorpio? Because right now, I'm like, from a tech enthusiast kind of standpoint, I'm kind of happy that it's fairly beefy as far as game consoles go, because I think having beefy consoles is good for PC. But other than that, I just don't really care.
Yeah, I'm pretty much with you on that. Like I said before, I didn't really have any expectations going in. So, I mean, just seeing that, how much of an improvement it is over the last Xbox console, on that aspect, I'm impressed. Like it seems like they've been able to put together a pretty powerful console. However, just kind of like in the whole grand scheme of things, it's like, okay, cool. That sort of thing.
And I gotta say this for you Xbox fanboys, this thing is not doing 4K 60 native. It might do 4K 60 upscaled on certain games. It will demolish 1080p 60 though. Like 1080p 60 FPS is going to be perfect on this thing. Like this machine is fantastic for that.
1080p 60 is awesome. That's nothing to sneeze at,
I think that's really what consoles should be aiming for right now, because even PCs are having a hard time attaining an affordable 4K 60 FPS setup.
Right.
Like we have 4K 60 FPS setups that are possible right now, but they're not exactly affordable.
Yeah, they're not what is it? I guess sensible for most of the general populace out there.
Yeah,
I mean,
basically,
for tech enthusiasts, sure, but
you need a $700 graphics card to do this, or you need like a couple of $380 graphics cards to do 4K gaming at 60 FPS. I mean, at max settings. I'm not talking like you could turn a lot of settings down and do it, but that's not why I got a PC. So
yeah, that's you need a Terry Crews build. In other words. I was actually just watching Jay's 2 cents earlier.
Nice, nice.
Uh, cool guy. I love his channel.
Now, another problem I'm seeing with the Scorpio. Yes, it's powerful. Yes, I like that. I think that's a good thing. Where are the games?
Because that's the thing I'm worried about.
They're talking like Crackdown 3 and the new Forza, and there was one other game, I forget the name of it. Was it it wasn't Killing Floor, it was something else. But it's I don't think that's enough, because Sony is killing it with their first party titles right now.
Right.
Nintendo never stopped killing it with their first party titles. Even though they're chugging along on a little tablet that's not even as powerful as the old Xbox. They still make killer games and give you a reason to buy their console.
Exactly.
But
that's the thing. That's my major concern. That was like my first thought after looking at the specs and everything. I was like, oh, cool. It's like a pretty powerful console, but what games are there going to be? You know, like I would have loved to have seen Scalebound on a machine like this.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Rip in peace, Scalebound.
Jeez.
Like,
that game. That's much. Probably one. That's one game I was like actually legitimately excited for on the consoles.
Yeah, same here. Platinum. They make fantastic games.
Oh yeah, totally.
But Microsoft, they're having a bit of an identity crisis here. Like they've got the machine, but I don't think they have the games for it. They really, I don't know. They need to offer people something. Because right now everybody's just like, oh, I can just buy the PS4 or the PS4 Pro, and I get all these nice exclusives plus third-party games.
Yeah, unless they have some like insane lineup, they're just have like just super duper secret or something that they're just gonna like blow us all away with at E3. Which I'm glad that they decided to release their tech specs now, so now they can just focus on just the games at E3 because they need to bring it. They need to like bring it like 150%. They need to like. I think it's all about the games at this point.
I think another thing they could focus on, and this is just wild speculation on my part, but it's something I would love to see happen eventually. What if Microsoft kind of threw a Hail Mary and they started like billing themselves as like, hey, we don't have all that many exclusives, but what we do have is we have modding. Like, okay, right now they've already got modding for like Fallout 4 and Skyrim Special Edition on the Xbox One and PS4. The modding's a lot more robust on the Xbox already, because you're allowed 5 gigabytes of mods instead of just 1 gigabyte. What if they took that to the extreme with the Scorpio, where you can like have all the fucking mods you want for your games? That could be a good selling point, and it would be something. Sony, being a Japanese company, just saying, Japanese companies are really slow to change. That could be something they would not be willing to compromise on, even to compete against Xbox. But would it be enough to overcome that vast first-party title advantage? I don't know, but it would be something to fight back against that stuff with.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like it doesn't matter how powerful of a system they make if they don't have any freaking games for it. Then, like, what's the point?
Yeah, and like I was saying earlier, the original Xbox at the time was the most powerful console to ever be released. And look what happened to it. It got buried under a mountain of amazing first-party titles and amazing third-party support for the PS2.
Exactly. To this day, I feel like the PS2 has probably one of the greatest libraries of games. For the consoles, anyway.
The only system that rivals its library, in my opinion, would be either the SNES or like the Game Boy Advance. Those are the only systems that I think have anywhere near as robust a game library as the PS2.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that.
And I think that about sums up our thoughts on this thing. It's technically it's fairly impressive. You know, it's like a nice mid-range, 1080p 60 PC. Which good on you, Xbox. It's about time. And like I said before, a strong consoles help PC because it helps us not get really shitty ports later on.
Exactly. And you know what? That'd be kind of cool. Just kind of a final like little thing I wanted to throw in. It'd be kind of cool if this thing kind of had like a desktop mode.
Yeah, where you could just like plug in a mouse and keyboard and like use this as a full blown desktop.
Yeah, that'd be neat. Yes,
and Microsoft, please do that. Please do that. Make me feel so vindicated. on
Come
my
on,
whole
guys.
my whole theory about the convergence of console and PC. Because
I feel like that's coming.
and
That's
so do
definitely
I.
coming.
I've been saying it for like 2 years now, and I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
those have been our thoughts on the Xbox Scorpio. If you like the video, leave a like and subscribe, and as always, have a good one.
See you, everybody.